Cheers, everybody, and welcome back to Sips and Scripts. I'm your host, Kirsten Jackson, cocktail lover, storyteller, and your go to girl for bold films and even bolder drinks. This is the show where cinema meets cocktails, where we sip up something delicious while we dive deep into films that move us, challenge us, or just make us want to stand up and cheer. Now, usually there's three of us, but today it's just me and my amazing co host, Terrell. Jeff is out on assignment. So, hey, Terrell,
What it do?
what do it do? How are things going with you?
Uh, Pretty good. I can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Okay, well, good, because no one's listening to your
Facts.
complaints. There's no use in complaining because no one cares. But I care.
Okay.
I try. All right. Well, we are going to get into our film. So today's pick is Terrell's pick, actually.
Yeah.
And it is Terrell. Do you want to announce your movie, and I can do a
From roll.
drum roll?
All right. All right. So today we're going to be talking
Ow!
about.
I mean,
Anyway, I hope you're. Are you okay?
yeah, I'm good. The drum roll just didn't go quite as planned.
That's what's up.
But
All
speaking
right.
of drum roll,
Today's movie is Drumline.
yeah, because that aligns with drum roll, right? Yay.
Yeah, that really summed it up.
Yes, 2002's Drumline, directed by Charles Stone III, and it stars Nick Cannon as Devin Miles, Zoe Saldaña as Layla, Leonard Roberts as Sean, and Orlando Jones as Dr. Lee. So it's all about the world of HBCU marching bands, the pride, the competition, the egos, and ultimately the lesson that it's not about playing loud, it's about playing together, one band, one sound.
Sound. Oh yeah.
One band, one sound. So, as always, we'll throw out our trigger warnings first. Trigger warnings: mild violence, hazing style initiation, and some physical fights. But other than that, it's a fairly mild movie.
What? I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting you to say that at all. This movie it has a trigger warning on it.
We always do trigger warnings just in case it's not someone's style and they want to join us another time.
Okay, all
Hmm.
right.
Hmm. I don't know why Terrell is acting all brand new. He's being very weird today.
That
But
little scuffle, that little minor
there
scuffle.
were there were a little couple of scuffles. If it's not your thing, that's cool. But before we jump in, let's talk about our history with the film. Who saw Drumline when it first dropped, and who caught it later on cable reruns like me.
Mm.
So I
Well,
guess I'll go
go
first
ahead.
and say that I did not see it in the theaters. I okay. When I saw it first came out, or first come out, excuse me, I was like, oh, a Nick Cannon film. I'm good.
Wow. What did Nick Cannon do to you?
I mean, he didn't do nothing to me, and I don't have a problem with Nick Cannon. It's just like, oh, okay. It's just Nick Cannon. I just didn't really take him seriously. I mean, it's Nick Cannon. So, but when I think about it, I there have been Nick Cannon films that I've enjoyed because I do like that film.
Really?
Yeah, I like that film. Love Don't Cost a Thing. I think it's really cute. I think it's cute.
But you was like, you turned your nose up at Drumline, but was like, love don't cost a thing. You was
Well,
like,
it
that's
took
my
me,
jam.
yeah, it took me a minute to watch that too. And then when I finally watched it, I was okay. That wasn't as bad as I thought. It was cute. And when I watched Drumline the first time, I was like, okay, I got through it. Um, but then I watched it to prepare for this episode, and I was like, you know what? I really do like this film. This was well done. But we'll talk about it. So I can't remember when I saw it, but I know I saw it way after it being released in the movie theater. So I either saw it on some streaming service or saw it or rented it. I don't know. 2002, yeah, that's still the year of the rentals. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, but what about you? Because this has
Okay.
been on, Terrell has been putting this on our calendar every year, and we finally are getting to it.
Yep.
So, go ahead and share your love for this film.
I do have mad love for this film. This is probably my favorite Nick Cannon film ever. But I did not see it in movie theaters. I believe I was in Arizona, and I just didn't go to the movie theaters that often.
I'm
But
shocked.
yeah, I was too. I think the only movie I really saw in theaters while I was in Arizona was Batman Begins. The only movie I remember watching in movie theaters there.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So, but yeah, I did see it, and then I liked it so much I purchased the DVD. So I would watch it like usually. I probably watch it probably once a month.
Okay. Oh,
Like
so you're
sometimes I
very
even.
familiar.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love Drumline. Drumline is like, to me, it's one of the greats when it comes.
Okay. One of the greats.
Yeah, this is a classic. This is a classic. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now. If anybody thought that it wasn't, it's a classic.
Okay.
I know you wasn't expecting that either. You're like, wait,
I was not expecting you to say that. I was expecting you to say you enjoyed it, but I was not expecting you to say that it was one of the greats.
yeah,
That
one of the
that
great Nick Cannon films. Yes, it is definitely one of the great.
that is that's something. Okay. Well, all right. Well, okay. So matter of fact, I can't name a bunch of Nick Cannon films.
Really,
What's some other ones he's done?
he got Underclassman was one. I saw that in movie theaters. Love Don't Cost a Thing is another one.
Uh-huh.
Drumline, the second time around.
There's a sequel,
Yeah, I think it came like strictly to VH1 or something like that. But yeah,
and
it
he's
was.
in it.
Yeah, he was. I think he was in it for a little bit. I didn't watch it. I didn't care after that. I was like, I could let
You
that one
know,
alone.
you don't want to mess up the classic. I get that.
And
Well,
he was in. Oh, he was in the Garfield movie, Roll Bounce. Oh yeah, he was in Roll Bounce. I
oh
love
yeah,
him
it
in
was
Roll Bounce.
in Roll Bounce.
Roll Bounce.
Okay, that's right. Okay, all right. Well, cool. I love Roll Bounce. That was a cute movie. Um, well, okay. Well, I will say about Drumline, watching it this time and enjoying it. I kind of wished I had seen it in theaters. I think some of those scenes would have been incredible
Oh yeah.
to watch on the big screen, and especially a theater with good sound. That would have been really cool. But but yeah, so I guess it's time for our 60-second recap.
Get ready, get ready, get ready.
And it looks like it's me because
Oh,
it's
you got it.
Terrell's
You
pick.
got it. You got it. Hey, I want to hear this. This is gonna be good. Y'all tune in. If y'all haven't listened to a 60-second recap, this is the one.
It's
Here,
gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
epic.
Okay.
The best one we had so far. Let's get it.
All right. Well, count me in. I'm putting 60 seconds on the clock.
And go.
Okay, so Nick Cannon stars as Devin. What's his name right? Devin, and he's like this high school student that is like really good at playing the drums, but he just has a bad attitude, which I think stems from like his dad not being in his life. So, but he gets accepted to school on scholarship for joining the band. And then so he joins the band, but he has this attitude, and it's like, look at me. But really, his attitude is hiding the fact that he can't read music, and so he kind of, so he joins the band, and he kind of challenges with the, is it the drum major? I don't know who the guy is, but the guy who's over the drum
The
line,
section, yeah, he's over.
section leader, yes.
Mhm.
So then he, um, so then okay, so he gets kicked off the band because of a fight, and then he.
Oh man. Ooh, that was rough. That was rough. I really boosted that up for no reason whatsoever. That was that was
I think I really covered all the.
How many
points.
times did he join the band? Like he
Well,
joined the band,
it was more than once.
and then he joined the band. Then there was a fight. Then he joined the band. The whole movie is about band. I think you see him in one class, like, and it was a music class throughout the whole film. So yeah, he was definitely in the band. As many times they tried to kick his ass out, he was in the band every time.
He was. He did do a lot of band, like, and I was like, dang, is band his only class? Because he really ain't going to nothing else.
He's like, I gotta take 5 classes. He was upset about taking a 5th class. Like, bro, if you don't shut up.
Because you're all 4 of your first classes are band. So
I know, right? Like, just take one more band class, you'll be all right. Because like that's all this thing. Like they did at that school. It was like the band was the thing. Like it wasn't nothing else going on at that school.
Yeah, it was
except
hardcore.
dancing and banding. That was it.
Dancing and banding.
Yes.
Fair, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well,
and
well. Oh, so we have a comment that is a face palm at at my 60-second recap. I think I did a fine job. Okay, look, the basis of the film is that there was Nick Cannon, and then there was drums, and then there was a lot of dancing and drumming, and then it ended. And I think I got all the important parts.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you. I stand by.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
My 60.
Stand by that.
My 60-second recap. I think I did a swell job. Swell.
And we use words like swell, and you know that you didn't hit it like you thought. But it's all right.
I can't stand your black ass. Anyway, so let's move on to our cocktail. I know I'll get this right.
Oh, I know it every time. Now that's a 10 out of 10 every time. Go ahead.
Thank you.
What are we sipping on today?
Well, this week's sip is crisp and bold, but simple, and hits all the right notes. And we're gonna call it the Rhythm and Lime.
Okay.
All right. So
please tell me some Sprite involved in this. You said.
I mean, you would beat me up afterwards if there wasn't.
Much.
So we're gonna fill our shaker. Yes, our cocktail is a Rhythm and Lime. So we're gonna fill our shaker with ice. And then we are going to take 2 ounces of white rum. I'm using Captain Morgan. You guys see that? Captain Morgan. So I'm going to use 2 ounces and put it in our shaker. And then I'm going to use 1 ounce of lime juice. Now, fresh is best, but I don't have fresh. I don't have fresh limes today. So we're just using a store-bought lime, and we're just going to use 1 ounce of that. Pour that in our shaker. And put my top back on because I am clumsy. And half an ounce, of simple syrup. And we're going to use the Masters of Mixes simple syrup. So half an ounce of that in our shaker. And we are going to give it a simple shake. And we already have ice in a rocks glass. And we are going to pour our mix into our rocks glass. Very simple. And top it with Sprite.
Yeah.
There we go. And so here, and garnish it with the lime wheel.
Mm. Thought the company ran out of business. I see
you know I'm gonna keep the lime wheel on deck. All right, so here we go. Our rhythm and line. Very good. If I do say so myself. All right. So yeah, basically shake it over ice, pour it in your rocks glass, and top with Sprite. And it's refreshing, a little sharp, just like a perfectly tuned snare. You see what I did there? I said, did you see what I did there?
Unfortunately, yes, I did. Oh,
All right. Well, now that we have our drink, let's go into our tech summary. All right. So, Drumline was released in 2002, directed by Charles Stone III, written by Tina Gordon, Chisholm, and Sean Sheps. I don't know how to pronounce that. It was a commercial success, grossing over 56 million on a $20 million budget. It helped kick start Nick Cannon's film career, and most importantly, it gave a spotlight to the culture of HBCU marching bands. The critics were mixed, but audiences loved it, and to this day, it's a cultural touchstone for Black college representation on screen. So, a little behind the scenes trivia, some marching band secrets. The movie was inspired by writer Tina Gordon's brother, who played in Florida A&M's marching band. Most of the actors actually learned to play their instruments so that their movements looked authentic on screen. Um, most important, Nick Cannon learned to play the snare roll for the drum. I mean, it's the snare drum for the roll, excuse me. And though some of the faster solos were dubbed by a professional, he still learned to play the snare drum for his role. The bands that are featured in the film are a mix of real HBCU musicians and trained actors. The famous one band, one sound line was improvised on set and became the film's core theme. And now everyone everywhere uses that one band, one sound. So yeah. All right, so let's hop into our movie discussion. Um Terrell, do you want to open that up since you're so in love with this film?
oh yeah, definitely. Well, okay. So I have a question for you. Orlando Jones played Dr. Lee, and I
Yes.
believe he was phenomenal as
Okay.
Dr. Lee. I really believe him, especially for him coming from Mad TV and more like comedic roles, like the one with Eddie Griffin.
Yeah.
Uh, but just seeing him in that role, I wanted to know what you thought about because he seemed like he was old. He was real old school. He was real about musicianship. He was really not about the current things that was going on at the time, hip hop, rap, anything like that. I wanted to know what you think about why there's such a pushback from older generations when it comes to newer generations involving music.
Okay. I'm
And
gonna ask.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that, but I'm gonna read a comment. We have a comment on Instagram that says, "I love the concept of the movie. I think it could have been better, but with that being said, me and my friend went to see it like twice, and we wanted a part two."
Oh,
Okay. Well, you got it. You got the part two. I didn't know that there was a part two.
yeah, I don't think anybody knew there was a part two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but back to your question. With Orlando Jones. One, I do think that he did a really great job. I love it when like comedians play serious roles.
Hmm.
It's almost like a challenge to see if they can get through it, and I think it's really cool to see them pull it off. And Orlando Jones' portrayal of Dr. Lee was very intense. Like he was very like almost brooding. Like you
Yeah,
know,
he was real stoic. It was no smiles, no laughs. Everything was just business, business.
right? Which is so unlike him because isn't this like fresh
Mhm.
off of the? Wasn't he was doing those the Seven Up commercials?
Yes, yeah, he was doing those. He did
Yeah.
a
So
lot of comedic things. So I was like, when I saw him, I was like, oh, the dude from Mad TV.
yeah, I thought we were gonna get a funny role from him, but no, he delivered this very I don't know. I don't want to say it was cold, but it was like it was just a very intense um, role that he did, a very intense portrayal of this character. But I
Mm,
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But to move on to your question though about pushback, you know, I could say that I was in band, and
mhm,
so I have my experience with playing in a band that did not embrace newer culture and like fresher, more modern music. Um, and it was, I don't know why there was a pushback. And I really do feel like maybe one of the critiques of this film that I have is that perhaps he could have they could have explained a little more why he was so into
mhm,
and so unmoving and unwavering with um not wanting to do newer music. But I know that in my experience, I was in a school that we both went to Bradwell.
right,
It was a black and white mixed school, but that band played predominantly white music.
mhm,
Um, and I remember there being guys in the band who really wanted to play modern music, and these guys were really talented. Like they would come up with the cadences, and like they would play by ear like the songs that they were hearing on the radio, and they put those arrangements together and they would play them during breaks in between like marching or in class. And our white band director would always be like, cut that out, don't do that. And they would be like, well, why can't we play this, at least maybe if not on the field but in the stands?
mhm.
And he was like, no, we don't have copyrights for that. And I mean, yeah, legally that is true, but
But
people
it's
get
it's a
away with
high
that.
school band.
Yeah, people get away with that stuff all the time. And I really strongly felt like it was because he did not have a respect for their music. It was when rap music was really climbing. Um, and older white men did not have respect for that that music. And and I think the only song that was considered black that we actually played was Rockin' Robin. And that song is so whitewashed to where
Wow.
yeah,
Not
it
rocking, rock.
Rockin' Robin. I think that was like the only black song, like old or new, that we ever played that I remember. Now I only did 2 years of high school band, so maybe something was after that, but no, I sincerely doubt it. And I also remember being in a band and we were playing against like these Savannah schools, which were predominantly black, and
Beach.
being laughed. Yeah, Beach Groves, like all of those like black schools, and we would go and play our Sierra Sister and our Winter's Tale and Rockin' Robin, and we would be laughed off of the field because they were playing I Got Five on It.
So I'm just picturing the band because we went to Bradwell and I saw the band and I always thought this band is pretty whack. But like you said, when you would go see other schools play, they were playing the more popular music and they had the crowd moving almost like it was almost like you went to Atlanta A&T.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Morris Brown was all those other Savannah schools in the area that would play the more popular music. Okay, but
Yes.
so it's like I guess they're rooted in their ways. They think that this is the only way to get things done. This is the only way that you can consider yourself a musician is you playing this type of music.
Mhm.
So I can see how that could happen, but I also believe that you need to change with the times sometimes,
You know,
evolve with the times at times.
I totally agree, and I think that like I said, I do feel like our band director just did not have a respect for that type of music and really just had already decided for himself and for us the music that we were going to play and what he respected it and deemed appropriate. But And I feel like that put our band at such a disadvantage. And I'm not even talking about like being laughed off the field. I mean, that happens, whatever.
Mhm.
But what I do feel like is that you have a school that has a lot of black kids in it, right?
Mhm.
That may be talented, may not, you don't know. But you have this band that's playing music that does not sound like anything they want to hear. And if you already like cancel this one type of music, you're not going to get like fresh talent.
Right. Hmm. Yeah,
So
because people will stop playing. They were like, why go here? I'm not going to be able to play anything I want to play. It's going to be stuff I don't care about.
exactly. And I really feel like that was such a disservice to kids who might have actually done well in band, might have even excelled in band, but they don't want to play music by people that don't look like them.
Mhm.
And it already it's like a, I don't know, kind of, and I don't want to say like a slap in the face, but it's just like, it just feels like, I don't know, I don't have my words all together yet, but it feels like this is our band, this is what we're gonna play, and you have no choice in the matter, no say. Because the thing is, these guys that were arranging these like newer songs that they were hearing on the radio, these guys were really talented to be
Mhm.
able to play by ear and to pick that stuff up, but not just do that, but to arrange it for several different instruments. That
Mhm.
requires talent,
Yes,
and to not see that talent and try to cultivate it is just such a disservice
it
to young people. And we could have had a lot of young people who had their talents like really flourish and grow up under a leadership that appreciated modern sounds and modern songs. But it was just like, nope, I've already decided that this is the appropriate music, white music, and that's that.
is. Mhm.
So, but
Because
yeah,
as you know, I did band for 3 years
you
in middle
did.
school.
You did. And I feel like even like someone like you, because I feel like you quit after middle school, but
Mhm.
and I can't speak for you, so because this is your experience, but I feel like if that band was different, you might have continued.
I believe so. I believe so. And I believe if a movie like Drumline had come along while I was in school, I probably would have wanted to further in band. Because I was like,
Mhm.
because just watching this, I was like, man, this is like just seeing how they move on the field, just seeing how they care about their instruments, care about the playing, and just it was everything was so spot on from each school. It was like they took so much pride in playing the music and it sounding good and
Mhm.
entertaining, but also being kind of like in this educational setting. It was like I was like, I think if I would have saw something like that earlier, I probably would have gravitated more toward band than what I did.
Yeah.
So I
Cause
just thought that was great,
I
great to see.
remember, I mean, I continued on in band just because I mean I just did, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, I have this eagerness to join the band. It was just I just did it because I just continued on. But I remember a lot of people putting their instruments down after eighth grade, because our high school started in ninth grade. So, and I remember a lot of people. Nobody was really excited to join. I mean, some were,
Yeah.
but a lot of people put their instruments down. And did not move on to the marching band in high school for that very reason. Um, but I do feel like that was just a disservice to young musicians to not um, embrace what younger folks are doing. Just decide for them that this is what you're going to do, and this is what I feel is appropriate. But um, but yeah. So I have a question for
Yeah.
you.
Go ahead.
So, okay, the romance with Layla, the subplot.
Mhm.
I feel like that this movie comes from a time where you always had to have a romance subplot in there. Do you
Mhm.
think that that subplot was necessary or was it a distraction?
Good question. Watching it recently, I was like, I could do without it. It didn't change anything that would have happened in the film. He still would have been Devin. Still would have been Devin the entire time without Layla.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was. It was good to have her in the films. The female representation, female. She wasn't doing the same thing he was doing. She was doing her own thing. She had her own path, but it wasn't imperative to the film for those two to get together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that's how I feel.
I agree, and I feel like that romance wasn't completely fleshed out. So, and I think what we were supposed to glean from that was that while they're together, he taught her to actually pursue her actual goal of dance and not, what was it, philosophy? Because I was
Yeah,
like, you
whatever.
get both of those are crazy degrees, but okay. Um, so so but it was like when she finally changed her major to dance, it was supposed to be like this whole aha moment, like, oh, he encouraged her to pursue her actual goal. But I was like, when did that happen?
Yeah, when did you just up and change your major? Like in the
Yeah, I mean,
in
I
the
know
middle of the semester?
they yeah, they talked about it for like a little bit, but most of the movie was focused on him and his experience with the drumline. So when did she get all this encouragement to buck her parents you know, tutelage and decide that I'm gonna dance for my major? Like, what?
Mm,
But yeah, so
yeah,
that I did not think that the romance was necessary, but I know it's you know, that time, you know, and actually most movies have this romance subplot. I find it refreshing when a movie doesn't have a romance subplot, because it's like finally you can let go of that and make an actual movie,
mhm.
and it's gonna be okay. You don't have to have like sex and romance pushing it forward. So, but yeah. So,
So real quick, this was just a thought I had while I was watching the film. I was like, Devin indirectly is the villain of this entire film. I know people want to say it was Sean Taylor, but no, it was Devin. Devin from the beginning of the film toward the end was terrorizing everybody and everything, bucking every rule, not following any directions, just misrepresenting himself to get
mm,
into the school, just everything he could have possibly did wrong. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it in such a brash and cool way that y'all not gonna care that I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing it my way." And I just kept thinking, I was like, dude, if you just did this instead of this, you've been fine. If you just did this instead of this, because he's so gifted, his
mm,
gifts were there from the beginning. It's like he's so good. He doesn't know that if he actually learned his craft correctly, he'd be even better. But he was
yeah,
just like, nah, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna do it this way. Why you doing it this way? I'm gonna do it my way. It's like from the beginning, from the first time he met Sean, he was like, y'all grab the drums on this side. He was like, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna grab the drum on the total opposite side of what you said. I'm gonna just do what I want to do. I mean, he was just being so disrespectful. I was like, it was getting annoying.
you
Just
know,
wrong.
he was very annoying with the disrespect, because it was like, dude, you are a new person here. It should be obvious to you that you have to learn the ropes. Then you can you know, stretch out and be in control and all that stuff. And it was like, okay, but you know, it did kind of run along the same line of like, you were a superstar in high school, and
Like national champs or something like that.
but you know, I also think that's another thing that this film could have done, like because the only high school footage that we got was him playing at graduation.
Hmm.
So I feel like maybe if we had a little more footage of him being an actual superstar, being very popular, because to me it was like you were just a dude in the band who decided to play a little solo at your graduation, and that was that. I mean, you could kind of guess that he was popular, but we didn't
Yeah.
really get to see it. So when he came to the college, and him being like basically an asshole, it was like,
did you earn the right to be this asshole that you're being right now? Or are you that
yeah,
good?
because
Are you that
usually,
great?
yeah, because usually the film, like, we'll see that, oh, he was the quarterback in high school. He dated the captain of the cheerleader, stuff like that. And people like, okay, now he needs to be taken down a peg. But it was like, okay, you came to this college and you need to be taken down a peg, but why are you up so many pegs? Who are you? I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, it could have been. They could have switched the person. It could have been Jason Weaver playing Devin. I would have been like, okay.
Yeah,
So interchangeable. Like, okay, y'all play drums. Who's playing drums better today?
exactly. It was like you were drumline number 3. I mean, okay, but and I feel like, well, one thing I did, like, I felt like this movie was probably like it had the same kind of core theme as movies like Pitch Perfect and movies like Bring It On. Was like, you know, this kind of outcast comes, they have a bad attitude, um, and they don't want to be there, but then while they're there, they change everything, but also most importantly change themselves. So, and I don't know, it was just, he was annoying through this film. And then I also have to realize that I'm watching it with my very adult eyes now, and I'm like, this child is getting on my nerves. So but yeah, but I'm also a very fall in line kind of person. Like, so when I joined band, I did what I was told. I did not stand out, but that's me. But it was interesting. I do like the part where they put in that, maybe all of this bravado and bad attitude was because he really could not read music.
But
Um,
just being able to hear something, he heard, like, they show how good he was with his talent, with how talented he was, just by, they were going over a cadence. It was like a little quick little scene. They were going over the cadence. You
mhm,
was listening to, you hear him mouthing the cadence, and then
mhm,
they were like, "Hey, y'all got that?" And then he just jumps out and just automatically just plays it perfectly, no problem. And everybody's looking at him like, "Oh, you that guy." It was like if they would have had more scenes like that, more things where you like, "Oh, this guy really knows his stuff." Because like even during the audition, they were like, "Why isn't he stumbling over this? Why isn't he even looking at the sheet music? Why isn't he
mhm.
like having any problems with this whatsoever?" It's like they had little questions about it because he was so talented. People were like, who cares if he's not looking at the TV? Who cares if
Yeah.
he's not? When I think that's something that they could have showcased happening to him in high school, like him being just that good, and people just like looking over his inability to read music. Because I was
Mhm.
mad because when they found out, because when Sean found out that he couldn't read music, he tried to use that against him to make him
Right.
look, which he did make him look bad because it was like, oh, it was easy. You could have did that. All you had to do was what I wasn't trying to make him look bad, but knowing
Mhm.
he really had this thing for this new guy coming in, because I guess he felt he was coming after his spot. Which I
Yeah.
mean, he was a freshman. You were upperclassman. You should be able to handle it a little better. But that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I felt like that was an actual very authentic part of the film, um, because professional bands, they want you to read music. They do. Like, I think playing by ear is amazing,
Mhm.
and but professional bands, they don't care. They want you to be able to read music. They were really like a mix of the two, but I think if they had to choose, it would be reading music that is, you know, is the mark of a professional musician, someone who could read music. And so him being good, I do like that they didn't just throw him out of the band because he couldn't read music. They did recognize that he was talented, and
Mhm.
this was just a little stumbling block. And so they put him in the classes to help him read music. And I don't know if he ever learned to read music because they showed like 2 minutes of him in the classes, and then it was like,
Yeah,
All
this
right,
was
back on
definitely
the
not
field.
about school. This was yeah, though they were going to an HBCU, this was not about school whatsoever. This was basically a band, and that was it. It was like it's a band at this school, and
Yeah,
sometimes they are on the football field, and other times they are in the band room and they're just playing music the whole time, all
yeah,
day and all night. Like they
yeah.
never did anything else.
That yeah, it they there were no real classroom scenes, and it was band 100% band, and nothing else matters. Mhm. It's his life. We have a comment on Facebook that says, "Yeah, what's better, skill or talent?" And agreed, we did need more high school backstory. Absolutely, because it was just like, okay, he's this little nothing kid that with a little ego.
Mhm.
Okay, but let's talk about the rival band. Led by I don't
Morris
know the
Brown.
character's name by J. Anthony Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Wade. Mr. Wade.
Yes, yeah. Oh, it was Morris Brown, wasn't it?
Yeah, Morris Brown. Hmm.
Okay. How did Petey Pablo have to enroll in school to march
To
with that
holler,
band?
to holler throughout the whole thing.
That was the most chaotic
Yeah.
show. You know what? I'm so glad you said that because I felt that while I was watching it, I was like, maybe I'm just sleepy. But I was like, I could not catch the rhythm that he was doing, and then it was just a bunch of him, just a bunch of hollering, and I was like, well, I know Peter Pablo is famous for hollering and swinging
Mhm.
his shirt around, and that's fine. But I don't know what's going on right now.
That's fine.
I
No, yeah, no. Petey Pablo, I believe that was just they picked like they were able to, they was like somebody popular. And Petey Pablo and Blue Cantrell, because Blue Cantrell did the national anthem.
did.
Those
I mean,
two,
she
they were
did.
during that
Yes.
time, 2002. It's like a almost like a time capsule. Like this was going on in 2002. These were the artists that were popular in 2002. This was the music that
Mm-hmm.
was popular in 2002. It's basically like a little time capsule. And yeah, I mean, Petey Pablo, it was what it was. They were able to get who they wanted to get. I mean, they got AJ and Free from 106 in Park.
Man, that
So
was a throwback. I was
yes,
like,
it was. It really was.
I forgot that they were in this thing
Mhm.
in this movie. But yeah, that that was Petey Pablo, and I was like, how is that? How was that? How was that not
I
against the
guess they
rules?
probably thought that was gonna be his second single, but I don't think it worked out the way that they thought it would.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
because after the North Carolina song, that was kind of it with me and Petey.
I mean, I respect Petey Pablo, but
Yeah, oh, definitely,
that
definitely.
performance was a lot of hollering, and I didn't know what was going on. But you know what? Okay. Well, um, I thought like that whole betrayal of them asking him what the
Well, Dr. Lee was gonna play for the classic.
yeah, I was like, where did that come from? Why did they think he would even do that? I guess they expected him to be angry about being kicked off
Yeah,
the
and
drum
just like
line.
I'll ruin everything. Like he was a villain, but he wasn't like a top tier villain. Now, if he was like really villainous, then he would have been like, "I'll give you everything." But nah, he
It
was.
was
I
so
mean,
slimy though. It was like, you just tell me what he's gonna do.
hey, what he got going on? I'm gonna throw a lot of financial aid your way. Like this dude just had a scholarship. What he gonna do? For financial aid? You ain't got no scholarship, Morris Brown?
Thank you. I was like, so you gonna give me money I gotta pay you back and you won't
I
come
got a
on now.
whole bunch of financial aid your way. Like, yeah, you know that's money that got to get paid back, right? Like, you can slide me
Yeah.
100,000 of them things, but guess what? I got to pay back more than 100. I got to pay about probably 300,000
Thank you.
in 30
Yeah.
years.
But you know, when you a kid, you stupid. Ooh, ask me how I know.
Yes, yeah, that's you.
Eh, yeah, that's me. Yeah, but um Well,
But
yeah.
just looking at their rivalry, I was like, oh man. And to think that Dr. Lee was under Mr. Wade's tutelage for, he said, how many, like 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't teach him nothing. I was like, huh, how were you able to, like, I understand why nothing would rub off. I don't understand how nothing would rub off on Dr. Lee from Mr. Wade. Just being under somebody for that long, just being under somebody's tutelage for that long, or unless your convictions were that strong about musicianship and you was like, this is just my stepping stone to get to where I can lead my own band.
Maybe so. I don't know. That was very weird because they were two very, very different band directors. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know.
And they
And
didn't.
maybe,
It was so many things that they left that they could have explained. I know the movie was already 2 hours, but there's some other things they could have cut, and I would have been like, let's get to the nitty gritty, like
yeah.
the Nick Cannon, not Nick, Miles's Devin's father. Like you only see the mother once, you only see the father once, and then they talk on the phone once, and then he gets a package from the dad once. Like I want to know, like was there circumstances that made him leave, or was there like I wanted to know more about like why Devin's father wasn't in his life, and they
Well,
were in
I
the same
was,
city.
yeah, I was wondering why they included that. Like, was that to teach us or show us that that's why he had such a chip on his shoulder? Or I don't know. That was very weird, and it was like out of the blue. So your dad is not in your life, and then he uh then randomly send you some Boosie Collins tapes. What, bro?
Ain't said nothing in 18 plus years. All of a sudden, he
He
loaded
said,
up the
yeah,
cassettes.
load it up and sent the whole funk wagon into you, like, and then you listen to it. I wouldn't listen to that shit.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
definitely would have been in a box. It would have been unopened in the corner, if not in the trash.
yeah, that was that was yeah. I felt like that was just kind of unnecessary, or just should have been done differently. But I mean, I really do feel like this movie was to showcase the drum lines and like HBCU talent and stuff. And
Mm.
I guess that plot was to push that along. And it wasn't a bad plot. I'm not
No,
saying that at
no.
all.
Mm.
I just think that we are going to have to contend with the fact that there are just going to be some scenes and some plot points that just aren't going to be fully fleshed out, and that was definitely one of them.
Mm.
With the dad. But I will say this one thing I did enjoy about the film, like moving on to the actual music. Um, there were some really, really well shot scenes, like with them on the field, the close
Mm.
ups of him playing the snare drum, um, like the overhead shots of like the band formations. Um, it was really well shot. The cinematography is really excellent in this film, and I paid more attention to that with this viewing, and I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
while watching this film.
I thought that was great. Yeah, like you said, every time I was like, oh wow, this really looks good. This really, you like you can. It's like how they moved around the field. It was like you could like okay, they hitting section by section. They give you an overview shot to see how it looked from the top down view. I was like, this makes it look great. Because the thing is, when you see bands play live in stadiums, the noise bounces so much, like it's distracting. It's like you don't really get the full effect. But in when you watch it in a movie, it's like okay, well you can control the sound, you can control what's going on, so you don't get that
Hmm.
effect. And then the marching was on point, the instrumentation was on point, so it just looked and it was so crisp that like you was like you even if you're not paying attention to the movie, once these parts come on, you'll stop and pay attention because you're like, huh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That was pretty good.
absolutely. I do feel like this is a movie that you could just put on in the background and like do things and still enjoy it because you'll just it's really like watching an actual soundtrack, watching a soundtrack instead of listening to it. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, and I will say this: being in band those 2 years, let me tell you, when I first started band and I went to band camp because we had to go a week before school and spend a week there learning the shows. I was like, I don't know how they do this shit. And I still to this day I'm like, that shit is magic because the way that like they'll draw the band formations, like the different formations on the field, they'll draw it out. And then it's up to the drum major to figure out how many steps each person should take in what direction to move to get to the next formation. I don't know how I picked that shit up, how I learned it, but I did. And but learning it is one thing, but actually coming up with those steps and how many steps, and you got to make 36 short steps to get to this place. That, man, much respect. My hat's off to them because I still don't know
Oh,
how that shit was done.
I didn't know how intricate it was. I just thought like it was something that they already did, just knew. Like, okay, we're gonna take these few steps here, then we're gonna turn it into a two. Then we're gonna turn it into. It's like it was a marching band they used to show. I forgot what marching band it was, but like they would show the top down view, and like they'd be playing like a Michael Jackson song, and like they would show like the formation, like actually moonwalking, and I was like, that is insane. Anytime I see
Yeah,
something like that, it's like because it's like it seems like they make it look so easy, but you know deep down you're like that took weeks and weeks and weeks of practice to get that exactly how they wanted it to get on game day.
that
So
shit was crazy.
anybody who's out there doing that, because that's definitely not an easy task, and it's not something you can just pick up and start doing. Like, even if you were able to play an instrument, just like when Dr. Lee had Devin, when Devin was embarrassing Sean when they were doing the cadence thing, and then he was like, "Okay, you made yourself look bad," and then he was like, "Now you follow me." And then he was doing the cadence, and then he takes that step, and Devin is so unsure. He's like, "Oh wait, oh we're moving with this. I'm not just gonna have to stand here and just drum." And once
Yeah,
he started moving, he saw how difficult it was, and then that's when he was like, "Oh, okay." That was one of the little humbling points that they put on him. But other than that, I was like, "Yeah, that stuff is not easy whatsoever." So my hats off to anybody in a marching band that can do that, because
yeah. That shit was crazy. I did it for 2 years, and I don't remember struggling through it. I remember just did what I was told, and but there were like, because our drum major, they like you learn the first set, whatever formation, and they put you in there, and you start there, and then they would go around to each person and be like, "All right, you need to take 36 short steps this way to get here," and then go to the next person. Okay, you need to take 35 short steps over here, and they would do that for every formation, and this is crazy. And then you got to also keep all of the instruments together. So like the whole saxophone section is moving this way while the trumpets are moving that way. It's like math, and that ain't my strong suit. It is.
oh man.
Mm-mm. It's crazy, but they do it, and they do it so quick and so flawlessly that you're like, oh, it looks easy. It is. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And yeah, my hats off to them. And I remember there were some formations that our band struggled with, but we would practice and practice and would finally like get it right, because like people, be bumping into each other and stuff. Because see, that's what people would be doing if I had to come up with a formation. Everybody would be just slamming into each other. And I'd be, yeah, y'all just stand back
Like,
up.
oops, y'all go the opposite direction of what I said. Y'all everything I'm telling y'all do the opposite.
Yep. And then, but yeah, and then you have as a musician, like in the band, like you have to play and also count your steps all at the same time. It's wild. That like it's crazy. but but yeah. So did we any other parts of the film that we want to to go
I mean,
over?
basically, it was a bunch. Unless you want to talk about that unnecessary fight that happened.
What was that?
Yeah, I don't. I guess they felt the disrespect was just too much. They
And why did Devin get blamed for that?
yeah, because it wasn't like he drummed on the guy's drum and then punched the guy in the face. That
Yeah,
guy,
the guy, first of all, the guy threw the first punch, and it was like, oh, I just felt like,
I guess they had to make something. Like, it had to be something that had got him kicked out of the band. Something
I
had to happen.
guess, but to me, it would have made more sense if he threw the first punch.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, you're punishing this kid for something somebody else did. Now, even I understand he provoked it, but as
Mhm.
a professional musician in a school, you should know better than to punch somebody in the face because they played your instrument.
Mhm.
So I was like, hell, Devin might be kicked out of the band, but he damn sure need to be pressing charges on this fool that just punched him in the face. Like, what?
Yeah.
That didn't make no sense.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. But like I said, movies have to movie. They're like, oh, what can we do here to get this
Yeah.
to the next spot? How can
Move.
we have a little disruption in the movie just so we can get this thing back on track? It was like,
I
that's
guess
the
you're
way they
right.
chose to do it.
Yeah.
Which
Movies be
out of yeah,
moving.
and I think they
Movies
could
be
have,
moving.
and I think they could have did that a little better. But I mean, it got the
Yeah.
desired effect
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
everybody, I mean, the whole band turned against him. I was like, wow, y'all turned against him really quick.
And I was like, okay, so the band turned on him, but I was like, I would have been like, y'all ain't see the dude punch me in the face. I mean, what?
I think that's what he thought that was gonna be his saving grace, but they was like, nah. If you had walked up on that dude, he wouldn't have punched you in the face.
Blaming somebody for the violence that was done to them is just weird. That was just
Yeah,
very weird to me. But okay. So yeah. And I just felt like, to me, Dr. Lee should have fought harder for his musician. Yeah, I would have put him on timeout because he was, showboating and stuff. But like, your band member punched my band member in the face.
yeah, and started this whole altercation. But after
So
that, it was a free for all. After that, they was going.
yeah, and I'm like, to me, Dr. Lee wasn't doing enough.
Mm.
Like, because I would have been like, oh no,
But
we
I
need to make
think,
sure that your band member is getting some academic suspension or something, because your band member punched my band member in the face. It
yeah,
don't matter if he was showboating on his snare.
mhm.
Okay. But
But
that's
I
me
think
looking
the
at it in my
reason
adult eyes.
Dr. Lee didn't really stand up for him because he really didn't want to have Devin on the field at that point anyway. He was being pressured by administration, by
Yeah.
President Wagner, to like get my boy on the field. When I like, if you just caught that part of the movie, you would have thought that was Devin's father. Like, get my boy on the field. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But then come to find out he was
Yeah.
just the president of the school. You was like, oh, okay.
That was very weird in itself. You're not wrong.
But you can see like throughout their whole game, he was conflicted. Like he really, really didn't want to put Devin out there. And then when he finally was like he broke down and let it happen, then that happened. So it
Yeah.
was kind of like if I had just went with what I originally said, none of this would have happened at all.
Yeah.
So it's
I
kind of
mean,
like
I get
it's
it, but
yeah.
it's just like,
So indirectly, it was like he felt like if I just stuck to my guns, there wouldn't have been a fight. There wouldn't have been nobody would have got punched. It would have been just a regular homecoming, and then we all would have went home happy or sad, how we felt. Because
mm-hmm.
he was like throughout that whole thing. Every time I just kept looking at Dr. Lee, even when he was directing, he was like, and then he ended, and he just didn't. He wasn't feeling it, and I was like, I felt
Yeah, yeah, that, yeah. He was getting super peer pressured, but I
But
mean,
I
I
don't
get it.
understand why everybody thought that this, and then like everybody thought he was like the superstar. Like, that was great. I was like, because when he took Sean's solo that he chickened out on in the beginning, I was like, hmm. So you're only doing this despite, like, you weren't doing it because it was like, okay, I think I can do the solo. He was like, oh, he's doing the solo. Look at all this love he getting. Let me go out here and do the solo as well.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude is wild because he
Yeah.
just kept doing whatever. That's why I'm like, he's the villain. Like everything that happened was because of him. Like everything bad that happened to the band was because of him. They had to run because of him. They got in a fight because of him. It was like he was doing a lot.
Yeah, he was very obnoxious through the whole thing, right up to like the very end where he finally got it. And it was like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I mean, I guess that's how these stories go, but took a long time for us to get here.
Yeah.
It was a long road to this redemption, okay?
It
Well,
was so short of a redemption. It was like,
yeah, the redemption arc was super short, but okay. Well, are we ready to move on to best, worst, weirdest?
yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, well, this is the portion of our episode where we identify the best part of the film, the worst part of the film, and the weirdest part of the film. So, your favorite moment, your most cringe moment, and the scene that left you stunned like, what? So, Terrell, since this is your movie, you kick us off.
All right. Best part of the film was the bands. I
Yeah.
love watching the bands. I love watching them perform. I love the music they played. Everything was just on point. It looked so superb, so excellent. I just can't say enough about the bands. That really made the film for me. The
Mhm.
worst part of the film was, I would say, the worst part of the film. Worst part of the film, I would say, I really, Devin was really getting on my nerves about this whole film. And it was like, I know he's the star of the film. I know he's like the person you're supposed to root for. But sometimes I found myself not rooting for him. I was like, good that happened to you. I'm glad you got kicked out of the band.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
This movie
weirdest,
was like Nick Cannon playing Nick Cannon.
yeah, because every time I was like, it's just Nick Cannon with the drum.
Yeah, because he does give off this kind of. I mean, I don't know him personally, but he just give off this kind of cocky
Mm.
air, and I don't know, but yeah, it was basically Nick Cannon in the Nick Cannon Drumline film.
And let's see, the weirdest part of the film, I would say the weirdest part was, oh, okay, yeah, the Ernest joining the fraternity. That
Dude.
part was so weird. I was like, I don't guess because I've never joined or tried to attempt to join or anything like that. I guess I just don't know how it goes, but that just seemed like unnecessary and weird to me. Like they were like making this thing out to be this, oh, what's going on with Ernest? But they kind of would like nobody was really paying him too much attention. But it was like it's Jason Weaver, so you need to pay Jason Weaver some attention
Hmm.
because it's
Hmm.
Jason Weaver. But then it
Yeah.
was like, well, why is all this happening? What is going on? Why is he like this girl, but he's like he's not really that interested. And then like he's running off and disappearing and going and doing weird stuff and eating fast. And it's like, why? Why? And then you find out the reason why. You like, oh, uh, okay. I didn't see that happening, but I guess nobody else in the whole band thought that they would be joining this fraternity. But
That
okay.
shit was really weird. And that was gonna be mine. You stole it. Well, I'll run down my best words where it is the best. I think just the cinematography, like you said, just beautiful shots of the bands, of the drum line specifically, close ups of the instruments, and um the scenes with where the band is practicing, they're running up the steps. It was just really beautifully shot scenes. The worst to me was the side plots that were unnecessary, like Devin and his dad, Devin and Layla. Okay.
Devin was the problem.
Yeah.
Devin being Devin.
Yeah. I would have much rather, you know what, if we're going to have a romance side plot, I would have much rather have more of the chemistry between Jason Weaver's character and the young lady that was on the drum line. I thought that was a pretty cute little pairing. So I would have liked a little more of that. So, but you know, he wasn't the star. So, but I think it could have been done. But hey, so, but yeah, the weirdest part was definitely that organization, because I guess it was Greek, but definitely not D9. And I don't know. It was a band
fraternity. Yeah, that's why I'm like, why did no one else?
And no one knew. And I know like different fraternities and sororities do their rush differently. So I tread very lightly with saying this. I don't know, but usually I would think you would know when somebody's online. And
so that's not
I don't
usually
know.
something they keep a secret.
I
Because
mean, it
when I went
was
to
real.
college, I didn't interact with any of that stuff.
Well, you know, I went to a white college, so it wasn't like we had black fraternities and sororities, but I don't know. That whole cloak over your head and kidnapping you and stuff. I don't know. I ain't never seen it, but I mean, I'm not Greek, so I don't know.
Right.
But,
if anybody that's Greek that knows, let us know.
Yeah, because yeah, because that was just a lot, and yeah, and him not being able to tell anyone. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that, but it was just I don't know. I don't know, but it was very weird, and it was like it. And then to me, I don't know. It would have made more sense to me if it was like a D9 um fraternity that he was joining, because I could see the secrecy, but it was a band fraternity, and I was like, now I don't know everything, but you know, usually when you join like stuff like that, like National Honor Society fraternity, stuff like that, it'd be a little different.
Yeah, it's
that whole hazing thing. No.
Yeah. Like I was like, what did they actually have him? What? I don't know. I guess I don't know. Okay. It was a choice. They made that choice and they went with it. So.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, I tread very lightly because I have never, you know, crossed.
Exactly.
But that was a new one on me. So, but anyway, all right. Well, let us rate our film. So this is the part of the episode where we rate it on our Sips and Scripts cocktail scale. 5 being a top shelf cinema. 4 signature cocktail. 3 house margarita. 2 bottom shelf special. 1 well liquor with no chaser. All right, Terrell, what are you rating your movie?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. Yeah, why a 4?
It really holds up to me, and it was really like it being in that time. Like they had so many different black films coming out at that like a 5 to 10 year period between 99 to like 2008. It was just something you look back on and you was like, this is something that you can't really tear down. It's something positive. It's not anything that's just like, oh, it makes us look bad as a people. It was kind of like uplifting to see these HBCUs and see these bands and see how well together they were put and just how everything was. And I just think overall, like, it's a film you can watch. You can show it to your kids. You can show it to anybody, and and you would be all right. It's not like, oh no, I can't show this part, or oh no, we can't show this, or oh no, this ain't that, or anything like that. It's like it's overall, it's a wholesome film. It has good, I would say, good vibrations to it.
All right, Beach Boys. It's got good vibrations. Okay, well, you know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. I'm going to give it a 4. And my reason for giving it a 4 is this movie, I like the fact that it is a good film for anyone, whether you are musically inclined or not. But I really like films that take something very niche and do it well. Like anyone who has been in band or been on a drumline probably loves this movie. And I feel like films that take a risk and niche something down so much, but still make it able to be enjoyed by a wide audience, I think that's done very well. Like films like Pitch Perfect, where it's like specifically about a cappella groups, but anybody can enjoy it. Films like Above the Rim, that is specifically about basketball, but everybody can enjoy it. I think that those kinds of films, they get a lot of love from the people who, you know, navigate those waters, but also they, like I said, they can be enjoyed by anybody. And I think this film was just done well. The only reason I'm not going to give it a 5 is because the plot is just not strong enough. However, the cinematography, the music, and there's some pretty good scenes that really make up for that. So I think it does deserve a 4, and so that is why I gave it a 4. Signature cocktail. So I'm with it. All right. So what you binging on this week, T Rex? What you watching this week?
Have not been watching too much of anything. I think I'm going to jump on Wednesday, second season. I think I'm going to watch that, and I think I'm going to. I don't know. Last thing I watched was Georgia Southern, unfortunately, losing to USC yesterday. Wasn't really in the mood to watch anything else after that.
Oh, well.
How about you? What have you been?
Okay. Interestingly enough, me, I have been watching classic movies. So I feel like sometimes I listen to a lot of movie podcasts, not just our own, but and they'll make references to classic movies, and I'm like, I know I've seen them, but I don't remember them. So I'm kind of been going back and watching like a lot of classic movies. So most recently, I watched the Jaws franchise. Um, I watched Pretty Woman. I watched what else was it? I can't remember. But I've just been going back and rewatching classic movies. And I'm gonna start, since we're moving into October, I'm gonna start watching classic horror movies. So up up next I'll be watching The Shining, and I'm gonna watch probably the It movie, with the clown. And so
Original
yeah,
and a remake, or just the original?
I'm gonna watch the original and we'll see. Because I've seen the remake. I haven't seen the 'cause I think there's a 2 and a 3 out with the remakes, but I haven't seen those. But I'm gonna rewatch the original, and so yeah, so I'm researching, I'm doing homework, and I feel like those classic movies, I think it'll make me a stronger podcast host. We shall see. But just like watching how these movies are made, and like listening to podcasts talk about how these movies are made. Yeah, so that's what I'm binging. um, so yeah. Well, is there anything that we missed with Drumline? Did we get it all?
I believe we did. I think we got 95% of it.
Yeah, we got the most important parts, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. We had a blast marching through Drumline. And this rhythm and lime cocktail definitely kept us on beat. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Sips and Scripts Podcast, and visit sipsandscriptspodcast.com for more information about past episodes, recipes, and to learn more about your hosts. If you have a movie suggestion, drop us a line and let us know. And as always, the best way to help our little show out is word of mouth. The episodes are available on Facebook and YouTube, and also on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So just search for Sips and Scripts. And until next time, cheers. Bye.
One band, one sound.
One band, one sound.